Good morning, everyone. Welcome. I hope everyone had a really great night last night. Not too good of a night. You're here at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm impressed. I know that we're on farmer time, so this is not early for you. The breakfast that we have today is our annual grower breakfast. And before we dive into today's session, I'd like to give a special thanks to our medal sponsors. AMVT LLC, Burrell USA, Tomra Food, Cusify, Bayer Crop Science, Trical Group, Sitake, Optimum Sorting, BASF, and Be Hero. Thank you all very much for your support. We couldn't do this without you. So hopefully you've seen reminders throughout the conference and received some communication in the mail about the upcoming continuance referendum, which we do every 5 years. This is where the industry votes to continue the federal marketing order that creates the Almond Board. There are no proposed changes. It's simply a yes or a no vote to continue the marketing order. For those who attended the State of the Union yesterday, State of the Industry, sorry, give myself a promotion there. You heard me talk about that we're in the right place at the right time with the right product. And we're very well positioned to grow demand for California almonds around the world with new products, new markets, new innovations, and importantly, new partnerships. I know it's been really tough over the last several years, and we are not out of the woods yet. But we're confident that better days lie ahead. Why are we optimistic? Because we're seeing tangible signs of demand and healthy demand. For the first time in our history, we shipped more than 200 million pounds of almonds 10 months in a row last crop year. And this year, yes, clap for that. And this year, we've already shipped 200 million pounds twice in this crop year. And we sold 300 million pounds more than we produced last crop year. That's the biggest swing in the history of the industry. And on top of that, our carryout is now down to 500 million, give and take, pounds, which we haven't seen those levels since 2019. So we're in good place, and we know that things are looking up, but we also have more work to do. And you'll hear a lot about that today. So last year, you heard about a landmark study that we did with Deloitte Consulting, we invested in, to identify market growth opportunities. Thankfully, the results were very clear. First, double down on core markets like the US and India. The US returned to growth for the first time since 2019. We saw 1.6% growth in the US last crop year. Western Europe also returned to growth. We saw 3% growth last crop year. Those are not big percentages, but because they're huge markets, it's actually a lot of volume. And India grew a whopping 21%. The Middle East and North Africa both show really promising growth as well. So these shifts are showing momentum in our key and our future markets. Second thing Deloitte said was develop long-term growth markets like Indonesia, Morocco, and Turkey. Our initial explorations into these markets actually show that they're quite promising, and we see a lot of potential growth. There's some obstacles, but we're trying to figure out how to get around those or over them or under them or through them or whatever we've got to do to open up those markets. Third, increase ingredient and innovation opportunities. We have to stay relevant. There's a lot more competition out there in the plant-based space than there ever has been. So I've been meeting with experts around the world and our team and extended teams to discuss almond innovation, manufacturing, food service, and a variety of other areas to fuel our future and, importantly, sustainable growth for California almonds. The fourth thing, tell our environmental stewardship story. We know that water continues to be a concern and a challenge for the industry. It takes water to grow food. And we are very fortunate that from that water, we grow an incredibly nutritionally dense plant-based protein that's good for human health, significantly so. We have a great story to tell, and it is high time that we start telling it. Today, the team will share some of the game-changing programs in the Almond Board that we've implemented to support these 4 areas, and there's a lot more coming. I'd now like to introduce our host for this morning's session, the infamous Mickey Citarella. Mickey is Managing Director and Partner at our Strategy and Research Agency, Sterling Rice Group, and he's worked in the almond industry for over 15 years. I have had the great pleasure of working closely with Mickey. I don't think I've ever met anybody who's as optimistic, energetic, and funny. He's a blessing to travel with when you've got somebody like that along in the van. And I kind of think he's a species of his own ilk. So please give him a warm welcome for Mickey Citarella.
I'ma bring that wow. I'ma bring that wow.
Thank you, Clarice, and quite the introduction for me. Hopefully I don't let you down. But as we begin, game changed, world altered. The human race will never eat the same again. I know what you're all thinking out there right now, and what you're thinking is, wow. It was the late 1990s. The world was trending towards food with an absence of negatives. Fat-free, cholesterol-free, low calories was sweeping our food ecosystem. And up until this point, most of this food was decadent. It was indulgent. It was soft. It was mushy. It was not savory, crispy, or crunchy. And we needed to find a way to create that. And so scientists tested and tested and tested and finally came up with a solution. They could get rid of that fat we didn't like, the cholesterol that we hated, and even those dreaded calories, and come up with crispy, crunchy, delicious, free of food. You could bury your butter, be out with the oil, and shoot down shortening. The fat-free trend was about to become timeless thanks to Olestra. Olestra, or Olean, developed by Procter & Gamble, was forecasted to disrupt our entire food system. But in reality, what it ended up disrupting was our bowels. Yes, you're welcome. And after a lot of unplanned trips to bathrooms, painful cramps, and other things I shouldn't mention at 8 a.m. while you're enjoying a nice breakfast, this trendy product quickly turned to trash. And I'm not just talking about Olestra. I'm talking about the entire fat-free absence of negatives that swept our nation in the 1990s. It went from being a must-have thing in packaged foods to the butt end, pun intended, of many different jokes. And what's interesting is the fat-free trend was a major trend. It kept growing and growing and growing. If you put it on the label, it would get on shelf and it would sell with consumers. It was the focal point of innovation, communications, and even consumer behavior. Everyone thought that this trend was set up to be timeless. But in reality, what ended up happening is it turned to trash. And now the question is why? Why did this trend become trash? Well, there are many reasons, but the key one is physiological. Fat-free is a fallacy. People need fat. We need calories. We need a presence of positives to keep our body operating efficiently. And now thinking about the world of almonds, as they say, one man's trash is another man's treasure. And the end of the fat-free trend allowed a timeless product like nuts and almonds to begin to trend themselves. We no longer feared the double-digit grams of monounsaturated fat on the label, and instead embraced the almond for its many, many benefits. And when you look at production and consumption of almonds in the early O's, it was low. It was under 1 million pounds shipped globally. And then when we stopped fearing the fat and started to embrace it a little bit more, you can see how much the industry took off. we have over 3x'd over the last 25 years where we were in the early O's. And now, I'm not a smart economist like the man who spoke at State of the Industry, but I can tell you when you look at this graph, if you see an arrow going up that much over 25 years, it is a good thing. You're welcome, you're welcome. But the work doesn't stop here. We must continue to find a way for growth. And that is through trends. Now, you might be rolling your eyes a little bit because marketers and consultants like me are always asked about trends. We need to chase them, hunt them, report them, and create them. But this often results in short-term thinking that is good for quarters, but bad for years. What we really need to do with trends is to understand which ones are set up to become timeless, and then from there, figure out how to keep that timeless thing on trend. This feels a little confusing. I'll break it down for you with an example. We're going to go back in time again, not to the 1990s, but the 1900s. And a company called Nabisco started to see that consumers no longer wanted to cook their cookies or go to the local baker. They wanted packaged goods with these delicious sweet treats, so when they had a sweet fix, they could grab them, eat them, and enjoy them. And that's where they invented, or some may say stole from a company called Hydrox, that's for another day for us to discuss, the Oreo. Now, Oreo is not just Milk's favorite cookie, it is the world's favorite cookie. In fact, every year, Oreo sells 60 billion individual cookies across the globe, with 20 billion of those going to US consumers alone. Suffice it to say, this is a timeless product that has a distinct place in our lives. But Oreo hasn't rested on their laurels there. They have decided they want to continue to be timeless and are now investing so much of their brand equity in how they can keep Oreo on trend. They come up with so many different flavors. They do great collaborations, like with ice cream brands, or ones that we really don't need, like Oreo-flavored Coca-Cola. They have interesting advertising. They are showing up in food service and CPG, and in any place you can get food, it's hard-pressed to not find Oreo. And why they do this is because by staying on trend, it helps to further reinforce the timelessness of Oreo in our lives. And so this little ecosystem really contextualizes why Almond Board plays such an important role in the industry. They conduct a ton of research, invest in a lot of strategy, and build amazing programs to ensure we keep almonds a timeless product that's been around for millennia, both on trend, so we can continue to drive volume and value from the industry. So today, you're going to hear from a variety of Almond Board staff and industry members on different ways we are working to keep almonds both on trend and timeless to drive volume and value for the industry. It starts with how Almond Board prioritizes which countries to invest in. We will then go into what we are doing to inspire interesting and engaging innovation to keep almonds on trend. We'll then talk about the ways that we are telling our impressive growing story, our environmental stewardship initiatives, and key sustainability efforts to stay on trend with consumers and manufacturers alike. And then finally talking about how we are breaking through the clutter and promoting our most timeless equity, which is our health, to make the benefits of almonds exciting for consumers. So when you leave today, you should really understand all the different ways that Almond Board of California are keeping a timeless product like almonds on trend with consumers so we can grow volume and value for the industry. So now I'd like to shift our attention to prioritization. And to begin, I thought your morning really needed a little bit of math. And so as we look at prioritization, I wanted to come up with the easiest way to sell all of our supply, and that's this. There are 8.2 billion people that live in the world. I looked at the latest crop reports, and we had about 21.7 billion almonds grown this past crop year. So very easy formula. If we take that, divide it by people, all we have to do is make sure every single person in the world eats 1/3 pound of almonds, and all of our supply problems are solved. But, yes, I hear some laughs. The economist that was on Zoom is very upset with me right now. But this isn't reality, and we know this. So we must pick and choose what countries and what consumers are likely to understand, appreciate, and eat almonds to ensure we are driving both volume and value for the industry. And this requires a lot of strategic thinking. This requires that we are prioritizing markets where almonds have a timeless history and heritage, but also continue to trend positively for more consumption. So today, I'm really excited to be here with Emily Fleischman, the Vice President of Global Market Development for Almond Board, and Craig Doerr, the VP of Global Sales and Marketing at Campos Brothers, and also the Global Market Development Chair. So let's please welcome Emily and Craig to the stage.
I'ma bring the wow. I'ma bring the wow.
Welcome.
Thank you. All right, well, thanks, Mickey. I mean, imagine if every human on the planet ate a third of a pound of almonds. Think how healthy we would all be. Pretty amazing. So, unfortunately, as Mickey pointed out, that's not the case, and we put a lot of emphasis on prioritizing markets to ensure we're focused on countries with the greatest potential for increased almond demand and value. And I want to really emphasize that word value, because it's different than where we've been in the past. We, over the past decade, and actually even more, have been really focused on the expansive increasing supply of almonds that has been happening around the globe. We really wanted to keep demand ahead of that supply. But now the situation's changed. Acreage has plateaued, as you all know, and we need to really focus on the markets that will deliver the most value for the industry and over the long term. So when I say value, you might wonder what that means. Really, it's the countries that show growth potential and really the ability to lift inelastic demand as we spread almonds across many categories within those countries.
And Emily, you're right. Moving from this idea of driving volume to driving value is a pretty big step change for the program. And I know to help here, we engaged with Deloitte Consulting to assess where and what the Almond Board should prioritize for their marketing efforts. Craig, can you tell me about why it is important for Almond Board to bring in an outside partner like a Deloitte Consulting?
First, I want to apologize, though, that I couldn't find my gold shoes or my bumblebee jacket to go with Mickey today. So I apologize for that. To begin, I know a lot of you are probably thinking, do we really need to hire an outside firm to help shape our strategies? And we have so much industry expertise at the Almond Board, why bring in someone else? I can tell you, as someone who has been ingrained in this industry for over 2 decades, it's full of incredibly talented and savvy people, and the industry has proven the ability to navigate storms and capitalize on opportunities. But part of that success is that we've always been open to getting an external perspective, because it can be hard to see the orchard through the trees. We did this back in 2011 to help develop our existing market development approach. And much has evolved in the marketplace, and it was time to engage outside voices that are at the forefront of world economics and trends and have the ability to assess tons of inside and outside information and data to form recommendations. As I watched this shape up, what impressed me the most is Deloitte started big, gargantuan, huge. And they assessed over 100 countries and narrowed it down to a set of 11 portfolio markets for the Almond Board to invest in. The recommendation they came back with was similar to our existing portfolio. We had been following a strategic roadmap for the last decade, so it provided a lot of reinforcement that we're already on the right path.
And I do want to emphasize, Craig, that is a good sign that most of the promising markets are one that Almond Board of California has already been investing in. Emily, of these 11 priority markets, can you tell us what's changed and where our future focus will lie?
So we were, as we talked about, really pleased to see a lot of the programs that we're running are already in those highest potential markets. But Deloitte kind of gave us a clear roadmap for where the best opportunity is overall. and there were some changes within that. So one of the markets that really stood out was India. So we've been very bullish on India at the Almond Board for a number of years. If you look at the growth that India has experienced, basically the volume has quadrupled in about 10 years. So we already knew India was huge. And then on top of that, Deloitte pointed out things that we know, like the population is 1.4 billion people, the largest in the world. It's very young, so 65% of Indians' population is under 35. And then they have, one of the fastest growing, if not the fastest growing middle class in the world. And you layer onto that just the cultural connection that exists in India related to almonds, and opportunity abounds. So one recommendation Deloitte made regarding India was to tap into the ingredient market. So we really have been focused mostly on the whole kernel. Almonds are traditionally sold in bulk in a lot of open markets in India. It's a lot different than what you would see here in the US. But as the grocery landscape evolves and you get more organized retail and a lot more packaged goods, the opportunity for things like almond milk, almond butter, flour, chocolate, bakery, it abounds. So really that's the next frontier for us in India, and we've expanded our strategic approach to include this.
Yeah, undoubtedly, India is a massive growth opportunity for California almonds. But we're also focused on protecting and growing our more established markets like the US and Germany. If we can't win at home, we can't win. The US is home to almonds. We have the highest per cap consumption of almonds in the world and the most developed ingredient market. We've all experienced walking down the aisles of our grocery stores and seeing almonds in every single aisle. We can't lose that. But it's more than just protecting consumption in the US. There are still opportunities to grow. Americans are looking for food that's both good for me and good for the planet. We have to continue to show Americans why almonds meet their needs. Further, the food innovation that happens in the US extends worldwide. We must keep our foot on the gas to ensure that almonds stay on trend and that new innovative uses for almond products are being developed in the US.
Yes, and we know that Germany is also a critical market for us. It is one of the highest value markets for almonds, and for those of you who don't know, has a huge heritage in baking in the market and with marzipan. And they have influence over the rest of Europe. So, and very interestingly, we're seeing the German diet change. I am 80% German, so I take this to heart. But it's traditionally been a very meat and potatoes diet, but now it has the largest population of vegetarians and flexitarians in the world. I don't think my dad would believe that. But it has, and we've gone to the market and seen it. And the new dietary guidelines for Germany, for the first time, recommend that people limit their meat to 25% of their diet, and importantly, include a handful of nuts daily. So with that shift to healthy snacking and a focus on foods that are good for the environment, we want to go beyond baking and be a go-to healthy snack for Germans and be a versatile ingredient for food developers to include in their products and influence the entire European continent.
It's amazing to hear the opportunity and the programs going on in three of our key markets, United States, Germany, and India. But I know there's a lot of discussion about the future potential of Southern Asia and African markets that have really fast-growing populations and fast-growing economies. Emily, can you talk a little bit about the opportunity for almonds in some of these more emerging markets?
Yeah. So as part of the Deloitte project, we really wanted to identify near-term, mid-term, and long-term opportunities across these emerging markets. We had a lot of conversation about how a lot of these markets are just complex, right? And so some of them do take a really long time to navigate. So the closest in that we identified were Turkey and Morocco. Both of them have a strong cultural tie to almonds and nuts in general, and they've been growing if you look at the position report. However, Deloitte's assessment was that if we actually go in, we can ignite that growth even further with our marketing. So we're currently conducting research in both markets. I just was in Turkey last month, and it honestly was clear, both across the consumer conversations we had and the trade professionals and manufacturers, that there's just a real big opportunity. They're very excited for the potential and for us to enter the market. So now we'll be heading to Morocco in early 2025, and we'll have some decisions to make because we can't do it all, right, Mickey?
Absolutely.
Now for midterm opportunities, we're focused on Indonesia. They're the fourth largest population, it's growing fast, and is a market we looked at before, about 6 years ago, but coming back and looking with some fresh eyes to see, all right, is it time? When do we come in? And in addition to those three, we have 8 more that we're monitoring. So no shortage on the list.
And so it's pretty clear here, it's important to have a roadmap of where we should focus. But I think the other thing that Deloitte uncovered are key opportunities on what to focus on. These areas are health, innovation, and environmental stewardship. Craig, among many of your responsibilities, you also sit on the newly developed environmental stewardship work group at Almond Board. Can you tell me a little bit more on what's going on with that?
Sure. You know, when it comes to environmental stewardship, yes, consumers care, but manufacturers care even more. The problem is there's no clear definition of what this means. So we must protect almonds' place in food products and ensure that manufacturers understand and know that almonds are a good fit for their goals. We have an amazing story to tell, and our work group is working on ways to develop partnerships to tell our story in the most impactful way. You'll hear more about these programs as we have underway later in this morning's presentation.
And then in addition to environmental stewardship, Deloitte recommended that the Almond Board place an emphasis on product innovation. It's a big change from where we've been. While almonds as a snack does drive significant volume because you're moving, every kernel, the incremental growth that we can get from new forms and new ways of eating, they're just things we may not even know about, and it helps insulate the industry. So just 10 years ago, you would never have imagined that almond milk would make up such a significant portion of demand for the industry. So huge opportunity to fuel innovation and ensure that almonds are relevant with manufacturers for decades to come.
Well, thank you so much, Craig and Emily, for giving us a quick taste of how we're prioritizing the different markets that we're going in.
Okay.
So as you can see, when we look at market prioritization, so many of the places that we're in have a history and heritage with almonds, whether it's marzipan in Germany or the morning ritual in India. These are places that know and love almonds. But within each one of these as well, there are new trends that are paving new ways that we can drive demands for almonds. And one of the key things that we need to continue to do to ensure that we're driving future demand for almonds is innovation, as Emily alluded to. Innovation has been a key trend in food for a very long time. We love new things. But the tides are changing, and companies are starting to realize more is not necessarily more, and they are rationalizing their portfolios to prioritize their best-selling items. To give you an example of this, I want you to look at this slide. This is a slide of pepperoni at 8:15 in the morning, made by Hormel. I was flabbergasted when I found out that Hormel has not one, not two, not 20, but 72 different SKUs of pepperoni that they sell in different retail environments. I have no idea how you can take one product and expand it that many ways. But as they started to look at the future of their business, you can clearly see they can make more profits and be more resonant with consumers if they go down from that 72 to a much more humble set of pepperoni. Similarly, we've all grown up with plastic toys from Mattel, and recently read a report that 50% of the toys created by Mattel make up 2% of their sales. So when new management came in, what do you think they're starting to do? Get rid of the 50%. And I think this is really important for us to think about, because innovation will always be very important for almonds and our use as an ingredient. And in fact, in 2023, when we monitored all the new food product innovations released across the globe in retail, more than 14,000 products were put into the market that included almonds. And this is a big number, but we're now consistently hearing from manufacturers that they're prioritizing more impactful innovation versus just chasing new products. And we really have to think about this, because we need to ensure with manufacturers, food service operators, and other key players in the food industry that they see almonds as an essential ingredient to impactful innovation. So when they start to think about rationalization, they say, I cannot get rid of almonds. And as Emily said as well, Deloitte identified trade as the most important way to drive demand for almonds in more than half of our prioritized markets. This is a very big shift from where we've been in the past, where we've primarily focused on driving consumer demand. So I'm really excited to now bring up Harminder Mann, the Associate Director of Trade Marketing and Stewardship at Almond Board of California, as well as Gabby Javaria, Director of New Product Development at Harris Wolff, to talk about innovation. Let's welcome them to the stage.
I'ma bring the wow. Yeah. I'ma bring the wow.
Welcome. It's time to bring the wow with innovation. So, Harbinder, I know we're going to say this number a lot, and I understand almonds were the #1 nut used in new global product introductions last year, and more than 14,000 new products with almonds hit shelves in 2023. But as Clarice said yesterday, and a little bit today, during the State of the Industry, we can't slow down. We must stay relevant. How have we seen innovation evolve over the past 20 years, and what's Almond Board doing about it?
So I'm going to kick this off. Let's take the US market. So in the last 20 years, as shipments have more than doubled in the US market, and then we look at our sales data, our Nielsen data, our IRI data, our scanner data, what we see is that ingredients have remained about 50% of the end use of California almonds. So that's really, really exciting for us to see that as the crop has grown, ingredient remains very, very important to the growth. And today, if you walked into any grocery store, walk down any aisle, whether it's bakery or chocolate or snacking or alternative dairy, you're going to find an almond product for that. So making sure that we are keeping almonds front and center and relevant with product developers is really, really important. And then looking across the globe, you talked about this 14,000 new product introductions in 2023 alone. That's a big increase even on 2022. And to put that into context for the audience, almonds are the #1 nut in new product introductions. So it's not just that it's a big number, it's that we lead all other nuts in the world. And so if you're a product developer and you're using almonds, it really goes to the confidence that those product developers have in almonds. If they didn't think they could launch a successful product, they would not put the investment in. So we would need to maintain that momentum and continue to make sure that as new campaigns and new brands are launched, that almonds remain relevant and versatile, and to take that nutrition, functional information with them, and that they taste good, because that is the secret. So I really urge the whole audience to check out the Almond Board of California booth and also the marketing booth downstairs to see the wide array of products that are on shelf from around the world, because it's just very exciting to see that momentum in ingredient.
And one of the key things you mentioned are the 14 forms of almonds. And so, Gabi, I know that is something that truly separates almonds from almost every other food ingredient and are a big reason you see almonds literally everywhere. I know you've been working on a lot of new uses and innovations with almond forms in your job. Can you tell us some of the exciting things you've been exploring and how you're educating your customers about these new innovations that you're creating?
Yes, at Harris Wolff California Almonds, we recognize that almonds have so much innovation potential. And to be honest, we have just begun to scratch the surface of all the things that we can do with almonds. But one thing that we've been exploring the most is almond protein powder. This is a relatively new ingredient, and customers have a significant knowledge gap about how to utilize it best. This is why we prioritize innovation and provide the guidance, scientific insights, and technical expertise needed to unlock this full potential. For example, when we're experimenting with almond protein powder and applications for our chiffon cake, we noticed that unlike peas and soy protein, our cakes were coming out rubbery, dry, off taste, and with a crumbly texture. Unlike with protein powder, it was able to hold a spongy structure and have a good taste. And when we're playing around with the whipped cream or the filling, I stumbled around and I created a glaze. But this just shows how R&D has so much potential, and it takes you into different unexpected pathways. So this highlights why our role goes beyond product development. We actively partner with our customers to troubleshoot, experiment, and innovate. By sharing our expertise, we empower them to explore creative uses for the almond protein powder, from beverages and baked goods to meats, plant-based meats, and beyond. The journey of experimentation often leads to surprising results, and we're committed to guiding our partners through these discoveries, ensuring they stay at the forefront of innovation in their respective markets. Our mission is not just to provide protein powder, but also act as a bridge between possibilities and applications, helping shape the future of plant-based nutrition.
And Gabby, I gotta try that glaze you're talking about. It sounds fantastic. But I really love how you're exploring so many ways to make almonds and new forms relevant to your business, customers, and consumers. Harbinder, with innovation and trade being a large focus for Almond Board, can you please describe some of the new strategies and tactics you're putting into place to keep almonds relevant and exciting with this audience?
Yes, so in the spirit of keeping almonds on trend with manufacturers, we have several different programs I want to take you through today. So first is utilizing AI to provide new ways to inspire innovation. We want to continually be educating product developers in those spaces that they get their inspiration. So a couple of programs using AI and data to identify those opportunities. In the US, we used AI as a starting point for our student competition earlier this year. So AI scrapes data from social media sites like Uber Eats and Pinterest and some of those large recipe sites. What it does is then allows us to see those consumer insights and perceptions. How are people eating almonds? What day parts? What are they pairing with them? What do they like about them? And then we can use that data in multiple ways. We're also partnering with innovative retailers to leverage their data for inspiration. So for instance, in China, we partnered with Tmall, the largest e-commerce platform in the world, and really worked with them to identify new snack opportunity spaces for almonds. And then we were able to share that information back with the industry in China in that very pre-competitive way. So we're also opening up new channels. This year, we started a food service program, not only to drive demand in this channel, but also to get in front of influential younger audiences and generations like Gen Z. So many food trends in retail start in food service. So we want to be sure we are using food service to drive volume as well as influence. And then staying relevant with the future of food development by working with up-and-coming chefs, food scientists, high schools, colleges, and the Culinary Institute of America. We know it's really important to educate each new generation of chefs to the various forms and also to formulate with almonds. Partnering with universities has allowed us to educate new consumers as they are forming their eating habits and taking them with them into the big world. And then lastly, as we are sure we want to think about big almond innovation and taking the results from the Deloitte study, we're also looking at creating we have created an innovation task force to bring in almond experts and product innovation experts from outside of the almond industry to help us innovate with almonds. The innovation task force will actively explore new forms, functions, formats that go beyond the traditional use. Like, what else could we do with flour and oil and butter and paste? And these all cater to a growing health-conscious and plant-based consumer segment. So we want to do this in the opportunity spaces that offer the greatest upside value and bring that to the food industry, again, in that pre-competitive way.
And that innovation task force sounds super exciting, and I'm excited to be part of it. Gabby, among your day job and the 9 other things you do at Almond Board, you are also on the innovation task force, and everyone's really excited about your contributions. But as your day job, you're innovating on a daily basis at Harris Wolff. What do you see as some of the key opportunities and challenges as you look to the future of almond innovation?
The almond industry is at exciting crossroads with immense innovation potential. There are both barriers to overcome and opportunities to seize. One of the primary challenges is the lack of understanding of new processes and applications for almonds and almond-based ingredients, like the almond protein powder. Since it's a relatively new frontier, customers and manufacturers often face like a steep learning curve. And unlike more traditional ingredients, the science and the techniques behind innovation are not widely known or taught in schools. So this gap can slow down adaptation and experimentation in product development. making it critical to provide the technical guidance and hands-on expertise to bridge this divide. On the other hand, almonds' inherent versatility and nutritional benefits present a vast opportunity. Almonds are clean label, plant-based, and naturally rich protein, healthy fats, and fibers, making them a powerhouse ingredient for the modern food trends. Their adaptability allows them to fit seamlessly into a variety of applications, from beverages and snacks to baked goods and plant-based products. So I'm experiencing a change in the industry right now. As I attend the trade shows, we're having more and more new customers seeking us out. And the key to unlocking these opportunities lies in leveraging innovation and collaboration. While the lack of knowledge presents a barrier, the versatility and nutrition of almonds, combined with the collaborative approach to research and education, position almonds as a cornerstone for future food innovations. All of this together elevates the value of the almonds.
Oh, and that's great to hear. And this year I had the opportunity to interview more than 20 manufacturers around the globe about almonds and innovation. And one topic that consistently came up was environmental stewardship, or more colloquially, sustainability. What do you tell your customers when they ask you questions about this topic?
Environmental stewardship is always a central topic. Water and sustainability are key concerns for many brands, and we're proud to share the almonds industry strong stewardship story. For example, we highlight how we maximize resources efficiency with zero waste, practices utilizing the hulls, the shells, and woody biomass in productive ways. Customers value these efforts and appreciate the commitment to sustainability, which aligns with their brand values and resonates with the eco-conscious consumers.
And then last question, Gabby, as you've been on your journey in the almond industry, how does the Almond Board of California specifically support you in your role?
The Almond Board of California has been essential to my growth in the almond industry. Through programs like the Leadership Program and involvement with the Nutrition Research Committee and the Quality and Food Safety Committee, I've gained valuable insights. I have built strong networks and I have access cutting-edge research and resources. These opportunities have enhanced my knowledge and allowed me to voice my opinion and contributed to shaping the industry's future. Collaborating with experts help me drive innovation and improve safety practices and promote the nutritional benefits of almonds, ensuring that the industry remains forward-thinking and consumer-focused.
Well, thank you so much, Harvinder and Gabby, for your time. So the focus on almond innovation and the possibilities are so exciting. And much like, as we've heard many times, we've only scratched the surface of innovation possibilities with almonds. We have really only scratched the surface on the intricacies of this specific topic. If you want to hear more, I encourage all of you to attend the Innovation Lunch Session taking place in this same room later today. Thank you for hearing that plug. That plug was for the innovation session that will be happening in this room later today. Just as a reminder, one more plug. And so, as you can clearly tell, almonds have an amazing story to tell manufacturers about innovation and being used as an ingredient. Almonds are versatile. We have 14 forms. Almonds are healthy. Some consider it to be the healthiest food in the world. USDA, if you are here, you did not hear that come from me. We produce 4 crops per drop. And again, we have really only scratched the surface on how almonds can be used in product development. But as Gabby mentioned, there is more to the story than our functional benefits. Now, manufacturers and consumers alike want to understand not only the technical and functional aspects of the foods that they eat, but also the story about how food is grown. And this, again, was further emphasized as key to driving future volume and value for almonds as we move forward. So I'm thrilled to spend a few minutes discussing what Almond Board is doing in the area of environmental stewardship with Danielle Veenstra. Almond Board of California's Senior Manager of Global Stewardship and Impact, and third-generation almond farmer down in Escalon. Let's welcome Danielle to the stage.
I'ma bring the wow. Yeah. I'ma bring the wow.
Hey, Mickey.
Hello, Danielle. So I think to begin, Danielle, Craig mentioned the environmental stewardship work group you led earlier. Can you tell us more about what that group is doing in the space of sustainability?
That's right, and I want to congratulate you on saying almond as well. You've finally learned.
You've taught me.
So, all right. So we convened, there's some claps for that, great. We convened a new work group this year, the Environmental Stewardship Work Group, and really the goal there is to bring together industry voices to help guide our work and our programs and our tactics when it comes to sustainability. There's so many diverse disciplines within sustainability that are impacted by it and that impact it. And there's a number of different angles to it and trends that drive this space. And so I wanted to talk about those trends for a second. Consumer behavior is one of them. There's concerns from consumers about sustainability in general and with regard to food and then almonds specifically. And then you have that younger generations tend to be more forward-leaning in this space. So it's something we have to account for going forward. You have media narratives where there's some historic almond misinformation out there, almonds in water. We know the media talks about that from time to time, but it's also just a really cluttered landscape, and so it's hard to cut through. And that's important to recognize when it comes to sustainability. There's policy and regulations. People in this room are probably very familiar with those from a local, federal, state perspective that impact and influence how we farm. There's also import requirements, global agreements that we have to be aware of. Then there's food companies, CPG, consumer packaged goods, the demands that they have on the products that they're sourcing. And those, yeah, they're being driven by consumers, but more and more they're being driven by investors and shareholders in those companies. And it's important we recognize that and understand those trends. And then finally, farm realities. There's new pests emerging. There's fewer pest management options for us. Water availability, sigma, inflation, trade issues, all of these things touch on and influence sustainability. And so that's why we convened this new group to really make sure all those voices are at the table, guiding the Almond Board's programming and tactics and strategies going forward.
So that's sort of a great overview of everything that you're doing, and it's a lot. But I really want us to zoom in on those food companies and manufacturers. The handlers in the room know they often have a lot of questions about sustainability and how almonds are grown. Gabby just talked about it. How are they using this information that you give to them?
Yeah, I mean, we all know that these food companies have a lot of decisions to make and considerations when they're choosing ingredients. They're thinking of flavor profiles, of functionality, of shelf life, but more and more they're considering sustainability, to the point where this entire new kind of industry has sprung up to assess the sustainability performance of ingredients. And so I want to show an example, actually. There's a variety of different providers of this information, but there is software and platforms out there that are giving scores on the sustainability performance of ingredients. You can see one here from How Good, and you can see that it's giving performance ratings on greenhouse gas emissions, water footprint, biodiversity, different things like that. And these platforms are out there. Almonds have grades in these, and this is a mix of publicly available data, supplier-provided data, and so it's really important for us at the Almond Board to start to understand the landscape here, who these players are, where they're getting their data, where there's data gaps, because there's some things in here that we don't even have data on, or we have limited data, or we think there might be inaccuracies in the data. And so that's some area that we're working on, is to understand that and make sure that the industry is well positioned in the future, that we fill those gaps, and that there's a level playing field for this industry.
And that does seem like such an important task on filling these gaps and providing information that may help overcome some of that misinformation that can come when there's gaps. Can you tell me more about how the Almond Board is helping reach other audience segments and telling our sustainability story to them?
Absolutely. There's a lot of work going on in this space, and there has been. This isn't new to us, but we're continuing to evolve and improve how we're doing this based on new insights. You guys have heard about, whether it was in State of the Industry yesterday or earlier today, the Deloitte work, and one of the key findings was to tell that sustainability story and really get that out there. And so that's important to understand, and that this work is important to driving global demand. It's not a passing trend, and it's important to recognize that some consumers come at this from a place of misperceptions when it comes to water, but there's also just so much opportunity to build trust and affinity. So many people don't even know that almonds grow on trees. We all love trees. People hug them. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for us, but there's also a lot that everyone in this room can do. So before I get to the examples, I want to pause and encourage you all to help play a role in this. Tomorrow morning, I'm leading up a session at 9 a.m. in Ballroom B1, telling your sustainability story. I'm going to go through tools that we have developed at the board to help you do that. We're going to hear from some industry members who are doing that, some partners at the Almond Board, why they're doing that, and some work that we're doing to shift narratives. So I encourage you to come to that to learn more. If you don't have time for that, make sure you head down to the booth tomorrow. Clarice mentioned this in the State of the Industry. We have a great infographic that summarizes some key points of our sustainability story. It's in a poster and a one-pager. We've got all kinds of different forms that you can use that in. So make sure to go down and pick that up. And I also really want to thank growers in the room who've participated in CASP, because the data that you provide as you fill that out about your own farm, we can get that cumulative data and help tell our collective story. There's so much power in that, and that really sets this industry apart. Switching gears to some examples of how we're doing this at the board and different programs that we have, I want to look first at kind of our own backyard. You've heard the term NIMBY.
I have not heard the term NIMBY. What is NIMBY?
NIMBY, so NIMBY is like not in my backyard. It's a term that people use like, I'm okay with this, but maybe not in my backyard. And for some people in California, that might be how they feel about almond production. We've historically had some work in California, reaching our consumers and our neighbors here, talking to them about how we farm and why we farm. But we're really stepping back and reassessing this work, this audience, reaching a new audience. You can see some description of them here, prideful Californians, to really try to shift that narrative and build trust and affinity. Californians are really proud of California. They like a lot of things about California. We want to add almonds to that list, not be in the NIMBY category, be in the like maybe YIMBY. I don't know that that's a word, but like, yes, I'm really proud this is in my backyard. So we're starting work in that space, and keep an eye out for that. You guys all live in California, and you'll probably see some of that work. Another area is just reaching consumers more broadly and generally. With general consumers, our focus is really in the US and in Germany. You'll see an example here on the screen of some work that's integrated with our Mother of All Snacks campaign in Germany, where the focus is really on health and natural nutrition, but we're integrating sustainability messages where it makes sense. These are social media ads that appear on Facebook and Instagram and reach consumers and tell them about the great work that's happening in our orchards in a really simple way. The next area is with food companies. We focus on communicating with them in the US and Europe. And we reach them through like newsletters, articles, one-on-one engagement. But another key way is showing up at trade shows and events, or maybe virtual learning events, and sharing the industry story in depth, being there in person where they go to learn about these things, and sharing the industry's story. The final way that I wanted to talk about or highlight today is a new thing that we did this year in an area of work that I'm leading up, which is reaching global sustainability thought leaders. And these are the people who are influencing the food companies, the government policymakers, the regulators. And so we showed up at Climate Week this year, Climate Week New York, which is the largest US event on climate action. It's bigger than COP, actually, I've learned, in terms of number of attendees, and it's the premier US event on this. It actually happens concurrent with the UN General Assembly, so there's a lot of leaders from around the world that come to this. There were over 900 events during the course of the week. Over 100,000 attendees came to the city to learn about and be part of these activities. And we had an event there. We were part of the official agenda. We had a lunch session where we partnered with Secretary Ross, CDFA, California Wine, Monarch Tractor, who's the first electric tractor, and to showcase the California leadership that's happening in agriculture and the great work that's happening on our farms at scale. These aren't just pilot projects. These are changes that are happening on our farms and great work that's already happening. And so doing that, yes, we reached people at the event, but it also just elevated the industry's stature by being on that agenda. It opened up so many conversations that I had over the course of the week about the industry and what we're doing, and really put us on that global stage. We also used it for some reconnaissance and learning about what's happening in the space, trends, things that might be coming, and things that we might need to address or anticipate or be ready for the industry.
So these are all really great examples and a lot of examples, Danielle. And Climate Week sounds truly like a global event. How do you see brands showing up there?
Yeah, I mean, any brand you can think of, I feel like was there in some way. And one that really struck me was L'Oreal. We happened to be near Times Square, and I saw their ads. They took over Times Square, and this is not an insignificant investment. This is an investment in the millions. Every 6th ad spot for the entire week was L'Oreal talking about their sustainability work and initiatives and things that they're doing. So they're really putting their money where their mouth is. This aligns, with that Deloitte finding. Sustainability is not a passing trend. And it was also really interesting because the proof points and the subject of those videos align with things that we're doing on our farm and that we're talking about. So whether that's biodiversity, climate, upcycling, and of course, water conservation. So I think we can feel really proud of the work we're doing on our farms and know that we, as the Almond Board, are going to work really hard and are continuing to work hard to drive global demand for almonds using these great things we're doing on our farms. So thank you all for that as well.
And thank you, Danielle. Thank you so much. And if you're more interested, check out her session tomorrow at 9.
Thanks, Mickey.
So, as you can see how almonds are grown and the stories, facts, and data we're able to tell around this is important for driving demand and value for almonds with both manufacturers and consumers alike. But we cannot ignore the most important aspect of almonds, the timeless equity that truly differentiates them and continues to keep them on trend with consumers. And that is health. Since the mass industrialization of food, consumers have had a focus on getting healthier. We ate processed food, we became unhealthy, and now we're continuing to try and find ways where we can be healthier. Not going to drain this slide, but what characterizes it is going from a one-size-fits-most approach to now an approach that specifically fits me. This timeless pursuit of health is now taking on a new trend, and that is personalization. We are realizing that everybody is different, and every body is different as well, and reacts to food differently. So again, we are going from one size fits most to what specifically works for me. And we're seeing a lot of innovation and category disruption in the marketplace that's really addressing this shift. The first is a group called Second Day, and they exist to help people overcome type 2 diabetes. But rather than doing it with pricks and other things, they've really realized a lot can be unlocked with our unique microbiomes. So people are meant to send in a variety of samples, blood, among other things, and then they'll test that and understand how your individual body reacts to the food that you eat. And from that data, they can give you personalized eating plans that ensure that your blood sugar levels don't spike, but instead stay level. So it's a fascinating way to ensure that people who are battling type 2 diabetes can really understand how each individual food that they consume works specifically with their body and helps them get on track with health. Then, of course, it wouldn't be a health and trends presentation if we didn't mention Ozempic and GLP-1s. This has been a great drug for people to lose weight and curb their cravings. But as we're getting more data and information about it, what everyone is realizing is people on Ozempic have significant macro and micronutrient gaps that they need to actually stay healthy and not just lose weight. So Nestle, the largest food manufacturer in the world, developed a line of frozen foods that continues to expand called Vital Pursuit, made specifically to address the micro and macronutrient needs of those that are consuming Ozempic. Time will tell if this trend will remain timeless, but we do know personalization in food is going to be very important as we move forward. And almonds, with their myriad discovered and undiscovered benefits are a great way for people to get health benefits specific to their needs. And if you look over the last 30 years, Almond Board of California has worked diligently to understand this benefit and talk to consumers around the world to grow the world's love of almonds. But again, our world has changed in the last few years, so we have to continue to be on the cutting edge of nutrition research and find bold ways to communicate much more personalized benefits that distinctly fit into the lives of our consumers. So to talk about this more, we're going to bring up our 3 regional directors, Dariella, Sidarshan, and Laura. All 3 are at the helm of bringing these specific health benefits to life in the marketplace. So let's welcome them up. So, Dariella, you participated in a great session yesterday. Frankly, I thought it'd be a little boring, but it was actually quite exciting, on almond nutritional research and all the groundbreaking work that is underway. Can you tell us about the purpose and impact of this exciting program?
Good. Well, I'm glad you thought it was exciting, because
It was.
it truly was. So good morning, everyone. I think we should all feel super proud of the phenomenal body of nutrition research that we've conducted on almonds over the past 30 plus years. And I am, without a doubt, sure that this is what has helped set almonds apart from other foods and other healthy snacks. And it really led to almonds now being recognized by the media, by health professionals, and by consumers globally as one of the healthiest foods in the world. And I think we should be really proud of that. But I think, as you mentioned, Mickey, trends are always evolving and consumers are changing their habits. And as an industry, we need to make sure that we keep up with that change as well, which is why the Nutrition Research Committee, and I see some of our members sitting here today, take such a thoughtful approach to the type of research that we invest in and the areas of research that we invest in. So we currently have 38 studies that are underway looking at different areas of research, from beauty, exercise, immunity, cancer, and a lot more. So lots and lots of research currently underway. But what we're also doing is really recognizing that we have amassed such a rich body of research. And earlier this year, we brought together 11 world-leading experts in the areas of cardiometabolic health. And what they did was critically analyze all of this research on cardiometabolic health, and they came to a consensus. And you can see some of the conclusions on the slide up here that they came to. And this groundbreaking conclusions, or this consensus, is going to be published in a world-leading nutrition journal any day now. And really having the endorsement of these people that are real superstars in their areas and in cardiometabolic health really brings so much added endorsement to the research that this industry has done and has funded over the years. And what's great about this is that we're starting to see the results. So I mentioned it's going to be published soon, but we already had one of the experts on the panel, Dr. Misra, who is the chairman of India's Diabetes and Cholesterol Foundation. He wrote an opinion piece that was published in several newspapers in India, where he talked about one of the studies he conducted, which showed that consuming 3 small handfuls of almonds a day had improved blood sugar control among Asian Indians with prediabetes. So this is huge, because currently in India, the consumption is about 5 to 7 almonds, and not all Indians are consuming that, but it's about 5 to 7. So imagine going from 5 to 7 to 3 small handfuls a day. Imagine the impact that could have both on public health, but also on almond consumption.
And I think that really, truly shows how powerful our nutrition research can be, and how this extensive body of research really sets almonds apart from other nuts and ingredients. Tell us more about how the team makes sure this research doesn't just sit there, but actually becomes public knowledge.
Sure. So it's the job of this team and our colleagues around the world to make sure that we're getting all these health benefits out there to health professionals, to food professionals, but also to consumers who have so much choice now in terms of healthy, tasty options that they can choose from. So one of the ways that we get the word out there in a really big way is through the media. So here's a really impressive stat that I'm going to share with you. In the past year alone, there were nearly 14,000 articles, and 14,000 seems to be the magic number today, right? Because there was 14,000 products, new products, and 14,000 articles generated through ABC's media efforts globally. And over 60% of those articles carried a health or nutrition message. So that's huge. And to put it into context, ABC marketing efforts resulted in more articles than Taylor Swift's Eras Tour Stop at Wembley. And that's twice as many articles as the Olympic opening ceremony in Paris. Twice as many articles as the Olympic opening ceremony. That's pretty impressive, right?
It is, and I've noticed since you've come up with that stat about Taylor Swift, she's ended her Eras tour. Coincidence? I think
Not a big
folks.
deal anymore.
No, Almonds, bigger than Taylor Swift. You're welcome, PR agency. So yes, the almond industry is definitely viewed as a leader in nutrition research and sets the standard for commodity boards everywhere. But we know it is a deeply competitive landscape where every food and package is claiming some sort of health benefit now. I mean, even Lay's potato chips are gluten-free. On top of that, consumers' attention span is the lowest that it has ever been. You have to fight to find differentiated benefits and capture people's attention with these benefits. So Laura, can you talk how you are promoting these research findings in a way that break through and consumers really notice?
Yeah, so the most recent research findings have been around almonds and exercise recovery, and this is really groundbreaking information. In the past 2 years, we've actually had 3 separate studies around the areas of almonds and how they help with muscle soreness and fatigue after exercise. This is really compelling, and it's new information, and it gives a way for almonds to stand out among that fierce competition that you talked about, Mickey. So the question became, how do we tell consumers about almonds and exercise recovery in a way that breaks through and actually gets noticed? So enter Coach Prime, Deion Sanders himself. He is an icon in sports who always commands attention, and we could not think of a better partner to bring awareness to almonds and the importance of exercise recovery. And Deion has turned out to be an absolutely incredible partner for us. He truly believes in almonds. If you guys saw the video yesterday at State of the Industry, he truly believes in almonds. He eats them every day, and it's his favorite snack. So take a look at our featured TV ad that really shows how Coach Prime is bringing our exercise recovery message to life.
You want to be like me? Well, you can't, because there's only one Prime. But you can recover like me. Almonds, every day. They can help you recover from exercise to keep you prime. You want to stay prime, right?
Hey, Coach Prime. Catch.
Oh, I still got it. Eat your almonds. Oh, you're prime.
I love it. And Laura, as a Boulder native, a University of Colorado grad, I bleed black and gold, and as Craig pointed out, I also wear a lot of black and gold. And there's so much talk about this so-called prime effect. It's the idea that everything Coach is part of sort of catapults, takes over conversation, and is impossible to miss. Have we seen that same reaction with what he's done for almonds?
Yes, the prime effect is in full effect for California almonds. But honestly, the results have been astounding. So for example, the campaign generated 10 times more media coverage than any previous Almond Board spokesperson has. So what does that mean? It means the almond message is showing up more times in the most popular places with a message that truly makes an impact. And this partnership has also catapulted almonds into the conversation. We've seen almonds be included in social media and in pop culture in ways we never have.
And I'd love to see almonds included in all this amazing hype. I can still remember the first time the ad played, Twitter just blew up with people talking about Deion and almonds. But I think the question is, especially for this audience, is does this matter? Does this actually translate to an increase in consumption, or is it just hype?
No, I mean, you're absolutely right. none of this hype matters if it doesn't result in increased almond sales. So we ran a retail test in the largest grocery chains in California, Colorado, Michigan, and Ohio. So that was Safeway, Albertsons, and Kroger stores in those states. And the results were really impressive. We saw that the campaign generated an increase in almond sales, but the most compelling stat we saw was that 42% of Kroger buyers were brand new to almonds. So that means that they had never purchased almonds before. They had never shown up in their grocery loyalty card data. 42% of new buyers. I mean, that is huge. It is incredibly hard to generate new users, and the Own Your Prime campaign is helping us do that. So we still have more exciting programs to come this year. Just announced on Sunday, the Buffs are going to the Alamo Bowl, which is going to be really exciting. And there is some potentially very big Heisman Trophy news coming later this week. Travis Hunter, anyone? So this just offers an even bigger platform for Coach Prime and California Almonds. And on top of that, Coach Prime will be representing California Almonds at the Super Bowl again this year. He'll be there conducting media interviews on our behalf and just generating more coverage for California Almonds.
I believe. I do. And I think when Coach Prime's done with the Alamo Bowl, it'll be called the Almondo Bowl. You're welcome, audience. So while there may not be football in India, there's something Indians are equally as passionate about, and that is cricket. In fact, when the board was exploring doing something around cricket, I learned from Sudarshan that the annual growth rate of that sport over just the past 3 years is 24%, which is 2.5 times more than the NFL over the same period of time. Sudarshan, tell us a little bit more about cricket in India.
Yeah, in India, cricket is actually more than a sport. It's like a religion. Whenever an Indian team plays an important match, all sections of society, they watch the matches and they root for the home team. So last year, we had an opportunity to be associated with cricket as the ICC World Cup Cricket Championship, which is played once in every 4 years, was being hosted by India. So we advertised on television as well as on billboards, where we messaged the energy benefits of almonds and its linkages to winning as well as to success. This was very well received. Trade was very excited. So we said, let's continue association with cricket again this year. And we're doing it with a partnership with, as an influencer, a star cricketer, Rishabh Pant. One video, please. Rishabh Pant's story is really amazing. He not only came back to the Indian cricket team, he played a very important role in the team which went on to lift the T20 World Cup. He is a favorite with the cricket fans. He's an iconic figure with the youth who are not only inspired by his story, but also love his very aggressive style of play. So we are really proud to have him as an influencer to talk about California almonds in the Indian market. He's just got ready with his first reel. It's yet to actually be posted, but I'm going to give you a sneak peek. One reel, please.
खिलाड़ी फील्ड पे हो या जिम में, अब रिकॉर्ड्स तो टूटेंगे ही और मसल्स के बैंड में बजेंगे। इसलिए हर रोज मुट्ठी भर बादाम ये फटीग और टेंशन दूर रखता है और स्ट्रेंथ भी बूस्ट करता है। अब रिकॉर्ड ब्रेकिंग हो या मसल रिकवरी, मैं हूं दोनों के लिए तैयार।
And I think this is amazing to see that a powerful study like the exercise recovery study that brings forward specific and personal benefits to consumers can be leveraged and utilized in markets across the globe to grab attention and drive consumption. We're going to continue the sports theme a little bit longer. And as we know, France is an important market for the California almond industry. But when we go to that prioritization list that Emily and Craig talked about, it's a little bit lower, resulting in fewer resources, which means less money. So I was pretty impressed in what they were able to accomplish by tapping into the power of the Olympics without spending Olympic-sized budgets. Dariella, can you tell us what you did there?
Sure. So we have had a campaign in France that was focused on the long-lasting energy that almonds provide. So it made a lot of sense for us to capitalize on the hype and the excitement around Paris 2025 Olympics. But as you said, Mickey, we didn't have these Olympic-sized budgets. And to give you an idea, to be an Olympic sponsor, the sponsorship costs start at $50 million. So definitely don't have those kind of budgets. So we needed to get very creative in terms of how we would work with that. So the idea that we ended up landing on was to make California Almonds the unofficial sponsor of unofficial sports. So sports that are invisible in the Olympics, but no less interesting and just as demanding energy-wise. So sports like these, cycle ball, for example, unicycle hockey, or the internet sensation hobby horse. Guys, this is a thing, people. There are people who do this as a sport. So if you haven't, this is Quidditch as well, is also a sport. So check it out on YouTube if you haven't seen these before. But so essentially, leading up to the Olympics, we became the unofficial sponsor of unofficial athletes, communicating that almonds are the perfect companion to provide that long-lasting energy that you need, not to perform one sport, but in some cases, like we saw, two sports at the same time. So a lot of fun.
Yes, those are definitely official athletes. I still can't imagine I can ride a unicycle and hit something while riding it. So we're clearly doing an impressive job of being bold and getting noticed for almonds and exercise recovery. There are so many amazing almond health benefits that we can highlight. But in the age of health personalization, it is critical that we tell consumers about the benefits they specifically care about. And this is particularly acute with the younger generation of consumers. Many of you in the audience probably know that almonds have an extremely strong heritage in India. They are known as a morning staple for mental acuity. They have deep roots in Ayurveda and are provided as a traditional gift during many festive seasons like Diwali. Almond Board of California has a very robust and thorough marketing program around these traditional uses of almonds. But we've started to do a lot more to reach the younger generation in India. And as a reminder, 65% of Indians are under 35. And to really contextualize that, that is 2 times the population of the United States, more than 2 times. And so we have to ensure, to continue to make almonds on trend, that we have more reasons for them to be consumed by the youth in different ways. So Sudarshan, can you tell us a little bit about the program you're doing now to reach this very large group of young Indians?
Sure. Actually, we've been ramping up our program in India to reach out to the younger consumers, to get them to consume almonds for reasons which are different from what emanates from tradition. And for this, we have made a series of digital ads which directly target the Gen Z consumers. As you mentioned, as we continue to ramp up our consumption in India, it's very important to reach these younger consumers. Now, these ads are very different. They are humorous, they are playful, and each ad highlights a specific benefit of almonds. There's 6 ads in the campaign, but what I'm going to do now is to show you 2 ads which highlight the skin and the weight management benefits of almonds. 2 ads, please.
Get ready with me for a hashtag Darbar Nitya event. Girls, time for the showstopper routine. Stop glowing skin ke liye. Me and my girls have badams every day. TAC. Backed by Ayurveda.
So grab a handful of almonds every day.
First day वाली पुशअप. Dang, Mahamadri ji.
प्यार बड़ा है, केजीज नहीं डार्लिंग. Weight management के लिए I have badams every day. Period.
Also backed by nutrition research.
So grab a handful of almonds every day.
Another way we are connecting with the youth is that we have started a partnership with the top Bollywood Gen Z actress Ananya Pandey. Now, Ananya Pandey has already played the lead in 10 plus movies. She has acted in OTT movies, which are now being beamed all over the world. And because of her stellar performances, she's already got 12 awards. She's extremely iconic with Indian youth and has got around 26 million followers on her Instagram account. And partnerships with people like Ananya Pandey is yet another way to reach out to younger audiences outside a base digital advertising campaign. She's just gone live with the first post, which I'm going to show to you now. One post, please.
Hey guys, I'm your personal trainer. Here's one post-workout workout. After lifting weights, lift one almond and eat it. One set, multiple reps daily. Why? It gives you energy that keeps you going through the day. Gym shim jao, uske baad muthi bhar badam khao. Chalo, I'm still on my last few reps. You also grab yours.
So speaking of reaching younger consumers, in the US, we wanted to take our presence in college football even further and capitalize on the fastest growing sport in the world, which is esports or online gaming. So we partnered with the most highly anticipated video game launch of the year, which is EA College Football 25. And in the game, California Almonds has a permanent feature where players can take advantage of our exclusive NIL deal to help them boost their strength and reduce fatigue. And it's a really, really good deal to take advantage of. And we didn't stop there. We wanted to make sure everyone knew about this in-game integration. So we partnered with Twitch, which is the largest video game streaming platform in the world, to help bring our NIL deal to life to college campuses around the country. And it's in what they're calling the EA College Football Tour. Just a couple weeks ago, they stopped at the USC-UCLA game to help generate additional hype for our in-game partnership. And so this in-game integration is just a really great way we're bringing our exercise recovery message to life in a way that younger consumers will actually notice and pay attention to.
Yes, and if any of you are in the audience and are gamers, and you're good enough to get this California Almonds NIL deal, it's something you cannot pass up. The benefits really give your players a huge advantage in the game. I mean, imagine Travis Hunter with an additional recovery benefit. That's scary. It's a guaranteed Heisman, I'd say. So if you visit the marketing booth today or tomorrow, you can enter for a chance to win your own copy of this game. Earlier, Harbinder spoke about our efforts in food service and how that is an impactful way to influence both CPG and consumers alike. It's also a great way that directs consumption right back to the almond industry. And we teased this yesterday, but we have some really exciting news to announce right now about a first-of-its-kind partnership for California Almonds. Laura, you ready to announce it?
I'm ready. So we wanted to find a way to bring our exercise recovery message directly to restaurants and tie it right back to almond consumption. So we're excited to officially announce that California Almonds is partnering with the largest smoothie chain in the world, Smoothie King. With over 1,300 locations in the US, this partnership will be big for the industry. So we want to share a video with you from the Smoothie King CEO, Juan Kim.
Hello everyone, my name is Juan Kim. I'm a CEO of Smoothie King. We currently have a little over 1,200 stores in the US, and I've been running Smoothie King since 2012 as a CEO. I'd like to really say thank you to everyone who's really making this happen. because we've been using almond from California for a long time, and we are very proud of the ingredients. Our mission is to inspire people to live a healthy and active lifestyle, and almond is one of our most important ingredients that we are very proud of. And I understand how hard you all work to produce them. So I want to say thank you. I want to really appreciate the partnership between Smoothie King and California Almond Association. And once again, you are a very important partner for us. And let's make sure that we all can inspire people to live a healthy and active lifestyle together. Thank you.
So Smoothie King is on a mission to be the healthiest restaurant chain in the world, and they are the perfect partner to help extend our message around almonds and exercise recovery. So this spring, we'll be promoting almonds, almond butter, and almond milk as the ultimate add to their most popular smoothies. And because there are no Smoothie Kings in California, we wanted to bring the experience to you. So being served and handed out to all of you right now is a sample of the Chocolate Gladiator with Almond smoothie. You can also come visit our marketing booth. It's catty corner from the big Almond Board booth, where you can test your skills on a blender bike. So that is a bike where your own pedal power helps you blend up a smoothie. And we may be making it into a little bit of a competition, so you can even challenge your closest colleague to a blend-off. And we will be giving away some copies of the very coveted EA Sports College Football 25 to the top blenders. So please come visit us.
That's awesome. And I'm personally a huge fan of Smoothie King and their mission to be an integral part of everyone's health and fitness journeys. And I'm really excited to see where this partnership takes California Almonds and really what new learnings it can help us uncover. So thank you so much, Sudarshan, Laura, and Dariella, for speaking to all the amazing ways we continue to elevate the health benefits of almonds and capture consumers' attention to ensure we stay on trend in all the markets that we're in. So hopefully you were able to drink from that fire hose of information on how we're keeping almonds both timeless and on trend to drive value and volume for the industry. Again, this is a timeless product. It has amazing benefits, and this team here is doing a great job to continue to ensure it stays on trend and we find growth for the industry. So I'd now like to invite Emily to come on up and close us out with some key announcements and takeaways.
Thank you, Mickey. Bring up wow. Have hype music. Missed my cue. Anyways, I do hope today's presentation gave you guys a sense of all the programs that we are conducting to drive almonds. We are working tirelessly. I was actually talking to a grower last night about how we do the work you do. And you should know, there really is an army of people across the globe working on almonds to figure out how do we tap into the insights in all the markets that we're in. And it is expansive, and I do hope that you get a chance to talk to some of the folks that presented today and others who are here on the team, because they're a very impressive group. Now, today we really only scratched the surface. There is a lot more that we're doing. So please come to the marketing booth that we set up this year. It's across from the Almond Board main booth, and you can learn more about our programs, you can do the blender bike, and meet more of the team. So I'd like to leave you with one final thing, and that is a sizzle reel that captures a lot of the demand-driving efforts that we have been doing across the globe this year. And thank you so much for attending this morning.